Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Catherine Hubert. I'm the owner here at Chez Genèse. We're a small French-inspired cafe in Greensboro, North Carolina, and it is a big part of our mission and existence to change the way that our world both views and employs adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Welcome to our channel where we get into the details and the weeds of who we are, why we do the things that we do, and how we do them. We are shifting, not focus all together. I think if anything, we're actually narrowing in on our focus more over this next month. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that we are shifting more of our content and conversations around education and advocacy, and we're starting to target that more specifically to other businesses, since that's where we hope to see our work expand and grow, is within changing culture within the small business industry in our community and city, but then across the world. So if you didn't already know that about us, our plan is to have the one small Chez Genèse here in Greensboro, and to instead work and empower other small businesses to make their businesses more inclusive and adaptive to adults with disabilities. There's a lot of different reasons behind why that is our model. We will be discussing more of that in the coming weeks and months. But we see that as the most sustainable and effective way to truly change the way that employment within the disability community operates. It provides more opportunities. It provides more equality and equity. We want to move away from the model of businesses starting up specifically with the mission of employing people with disabilities, and instead integrating disabled humans into all workspaces and industries. So that's kind of the little bit of preface that we're going to go through today. This month we're going to be talking about shifting narratives that we may have or hold, belief systems that we may have or hold around disability. That's going to play out in a few different ways. So we're talking today just about general overarching umbrella of shifting narratives and belief systems. In the coming weeks, we're going to dig in a little bit more into bias and what that is, what that looks like in terms of disability and disabled people. That will most likely feel a little bit uncomfortable and awkward, so we invite you into that uncomfortable, awkward space with us. The intent that we have behind that is not to put blame or get us all stuck in unproductive shame cycles, but instead to actually realistically and openly examine ourselves and our own thoughts and beliefs and how that may be impacting our actions and the way that we show up in the world and the way that we interact with other humans, and in this space specifically humans with disabilities. So come along with us. I want to bring you into that. It has been the process of rewriting some of my own beliefs, my own scripts, confronting my own bias has been such an instrumental and large part of my own personal story and growth, and also then the work and the person that I'm able to be here at work. I'm on the front end of that journey. I'm assuming, because hopefully I'm still on the front end of my life. The front, maybe third of my life if I live to be a really old lady. But that I'm saying that because I anticipate and hope that the patterns of growth will continue over the course of my entire life. I don't want that to be something that I ever stop doing, or that I feel like I've arrived or achieved something in. That's not the point. That's not the goal. We are not static. As humans, and our business is not static either. We are dynamic, which means we are constantly changing and growing and evolving. And I want to encourage that process in me and within my team and also within our community. And you are part of that. So, all of that being said, what are narratives and scripts that we may believe about disability, and how can we start to push into those scripts and beliefs with a little bit more depth or introspection? I cannot answer all of these questions for you personally, so I'm not going to attempt to, but I do want to get your wheels turning a little bit and for you to start to think about what your beliefs actually are, what you think your beliefs may be, and what your actions communicate your beliefs are may be different. And that's where I think the hard and delicate work of becoming more self-aware and actually doing some introspection comes into place. So, for example, a belief system around disability could be, I believe that disabled humans are worthy and capable. If that's the belief that I say that I have, are my actions and my engagement and my words and my conversations, are they truly following that belief system? What does that actually look like for my actions to live out of that belief system? And know that our mind is a very powerful thing, but we can convince ourselves that we believe something. If our bodies and our mouths are not actually backing it up, then we don't really believe it in an internal state. It's staying somewhere up in our brain. So this idea of really embodying our narratives and our beliefs, I think, is an important part of the education and the advocacy that we are doing. So, some simple practices for you over this next week before we start talking about bias would be to think through, it doesn't have to be every belief that you have about disability or people with disabilities, but try to identify maybe one or two or three beliefs or narratives that you maybe believe, or if it hasn't been internalized yet to even that point, some narratives that you have heard. And if you are able to write those out, you might be able to say, like, yes, I agree with that, or no, I don't. And then from there, I invite you into curiosity around those beliefs or scripts and see when you're reinforcing them or when you may be acting in opposition to them. That's going to take some work. It's not going to be something that maybe will come naturally at first, but the hope is that as we start doing that, you become more and more aware of what you're actually thinking, what you're actually believing, the information that you're truly digesting and consuming, and then also putting back out into the world. So again, those can be simple things. I'll talk a little bit more about my own bias and how I've had to confront that in next week's YouTube. We'll also talk about some of the bias that we see played out within our space and ways that we are working to push against that. And then we also will spend some time this month talking about the feelings that stirs up in us, and ways that we can not get stuck in the feelings or in cycles of like, oh, wait, now I'm either confused or I'm conflicted or I'm feeling challenged or like there's there's probably going to be like a little bit of a hazy period as we kind of dive into that together, where things feel less sure and less certain. But what I want is for this to start to become personal for each of you if it hasn't already. It's one thing to listen to me talk about my work and my hopes for my business and my team and experience, and for you to nod along or be like, yes, that's a good point, or yes, I agree with that. And then it's a different thing for you to take that and actually start thinking about how you think about disability, how you think about disability employment, what that looks like for you in your life or in your workspace, and then what you want to do with it from there. So, narratives, scripts, our minds and lives are full of them, and we want to spend some time actually getting more familiar with them so that if needed, we can write some new ones. So that's it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging with me today and for being willing to dive into some good internal work over here.